Areas that have low levels of selenium have a lower recovery rate with respect to COVID-19. Higher selenium in the general population areas of China is associated with higher recovery rate. That's important information.
Hi, Byron here from White Lion Foods in Peru. In this video, we will see Dr. David Perlmutter. He's a neurologist and 5-time New York Times best-selling author as well. He'll be discussing the link between selenium and the virus we'll hate, COVID-19. His discussion is about a new study that was published on the 28th of April, a very new study, which itself, it analyzes the link between low selenium levels and COVID-19 cases. I've shortened his 30-minute conversation into a 6-minute summary. I'll be linking his full YouTube channel into the description. Please enjoy.
The article is called Selenium and RNA Viruses Interactions, Potential Implications for SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. This is a researcher in France who kindly forwarded this to me. And selenium is one of our trace elements, trace minerals like zinc and copper and iron, etc., that plays a very important role in multiple aspects of our physiology that are relevant as it relates to this infection. And that said, we should talk, and I'm going to talk, about what you might consider doing to boost your immune function and to counteract what might be a low selenium issue that might relate to bad outcome. We know that selenium deficiency, this is important, promotes both the mutation as well as the replication and even the virulence of RNA viruses. And this COVID-19 is an RNA virus. So when there's deficiency of selenium in the cells that are involved, that are infected, this helps the virus mutate and actually helps the virus become more virulent or have ability to spread. We know that there have been observations about low selenium correlated to a variety of other viruses. Influenza virus, everybody's familiar with that. We know that the individuals who have lower levels of selenium are much more likely to have a bad outcome with respect to the pneumonia that you can get from having influenza, or the H1N1 influenza specifically. Now let's get to SARS-CoV-2 and talk about today our topic, which is the role of selenium proposed as it relates to this current issue. Well, let's first look at population studies that have demonstrated in China areas that have low levels of selenium have a lower recovery rate with respect to COVID-19. Higher selenium in the general population areas of China is associated with higher recovery rate. That's important information. Now, let me take a step back. Where do we get selenium? We generally get it from the foods that we eat, especially when those foods are grown in selenium-rich soil. A little bit more detail, in the city of Enshi, which has one of the highest selenium intakes in the world, the recovery rate from COVID-19 is triple the average for the rest of the cities, even including Wuhan. So here's a specific city in China that has naturally much more selenium in the soil, in the vegetables, and in people as well, and their recovery rate is triple the average. That's important information to think about. We know that there are at least 25 what are called selenoproteins in the human body. These are proteins that many of which are involved as antioxidants and require selenium to work. And this has certainly implications as it relates to this current situation with COVID-19. And it's important to note that lots of research has shown that this nasty virus diverts selenium away from us and to use it for its own needs. So it actually steals our selenium for its own purposes, taking it away from us so we can't use it to create and activate antioxidants. Now, one other thing I'd like to talk about is the possible play of lowered selenium levels and how that might relate to this coagulation issue that we are seeing in some patients who have really bad outcomes with respect to this infection. We know that selenium very profoundly acts on the platelets. It also acts on something called thromboxane A2. So we know that it can lead to possibly hemorrhage because it has an anti-aggregation effect. What does it mean? It tends to keep the blood platelets from aggregating that we would need to form a blood clot. So selenium, you may not have been thinking much about it, plays a complex role, a multifaceted role in our human physiology normally. And looking at selenium today through the lens of coronavirus, I think is very, very important. It's a critically important trace mineral that we have to have in our bodies. We know that selenium deficiency is really common in elderly individuals. We know that elderly individuals are at great risk for bad outcome. Fatality in elderly is seen to be about 4 to 5% in people who are age 60 or above, and even as high as 8% in individuals who are age 80 or above. And that's without considering other chronic conditions that they may have. There's also low selenium in elderly individuals, so maybe there is a relationship. Let's see. Good. We're going to jump into questions and comments and what have you. And here we go. Somebody says they eat Brazil nuts for selenium. Brazil nuts are a good source of selenium. That's smart. Okay, other food sources of selenium besides organic vegetables. Well, we know nuts and seeds, Brazil nuts especially.